She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, has managed to bring back many popular Marvel characters into the MCU, and now it seems that one of the most iconic Marvel villains is also set to make his comeback to the scene. Despite appearing well over a decade ago in the now forgotten Incredible Hulk film series, Dr. Samuel Stearns, aka The Leader, will be making an appearance in Disney Plus's upcoming Captain America sequel. Here's everything we know so far, starting off with a surprise return. Even though audiences are still reeling from his upcoming return being confirmed, it looks like the Captain America 4 villain was almost seen a lot sooner in She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Emil's return in She-Hulk ended up being quite an interesting bit of character development for both the Hulk family and the former villain, forcing them to face his troublesome history with Bruce. Meanwhile, the series also decided to deviate from the typical MCU formula by lacking any major villain for the majority of its run, except for the recurring appearances of Jamila Jamil's Titania and the mysterious Hulk King, who ended up being the misogynistic billionaire Todd Phelps. While some fans wanted to see a proper villain take on the titular heroine, it looks like She-Hulk was merely a springboard for the return of one major Marvel antagonist. While breaking down the season finale in an interview with Comic Book, Jessica Gao revealed that the scene almost included the leader in the story. She also went on to admit that she didn't remember why or how the plans ended up being ultimately scrapped, but that her original pitch included him as an optional character. Furthermore, the leader's fate might not be a pretty one. Though we may have finally found out what happened to the leader after Incredible Hulk thanks to She-Hulk, it might not be good. We already know that She-Hulk's origin is very similar to how the leader came to be. Both of the characters ended up getting drops of Bruce's blood on their bodies. Bruce himself even tells Jennifer that the only reason she survived a lethal exposure to his blood was because of the fact that they shared a rare combination of genetic factors which could synthesize gamma radiation. This means that unless Stearns also has the same exact genetic factor that Bruce and Jen had, he wouldn't be able to synthesize the radiation in Bruce's blood. Even though he was only exposed for about 4 drops, the first episode of She-Hulk implies that this was a lethal amount, meaning that it's possible that the leader likely died after the events of the Incredible Hulk. However, it's still possible that he could be alive. Since She-Hulk didn't officially confirm the fate of the iconic comic book villain, there's still a chance, even though it's pretty slim, that he could be alive during the events of the MCU's Phase 4 and beyond. It's important to keep in mind that Stearns is an expert when it comes to studying Banner's gamma-rich blood. He's already managed to duplicate samples of his blood to use in more experiments, so it's possible that he could develop an antidote. This would allow Stearns to survive being exposed to Banner's blood and prevent his death. Plus, it's also possible that the US government or S.H.I.E.L.D. found a half-dead Stearns and managed to find a way to save him. However, the existence of Smart Hulk also implies that the same method could have been used in the leader's survival. If such a revelation appears in a future MCU project, it would be fun to know that Bruce's journey to accepting being Hulk might also have helped save Stearns, if only to become a villain. This would be the perfect setup for Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and Nelson's The Leader to interact with the MCU for the first time. What's more, this means that the events of The Incredible Hulk are now becoming canon. Despite the fact that 2008's The Incredible Hulk featured Robert Downey Jr. in the role of Tony Stark, the film is largely considered to be one of the forgotten chapters in the MCU, mainly due to the recasting of Edward Norton as Mark Ruffalo because of Norton's desire for creative control. Because of this, some of the characters and plot threads ended up getting left by the wayside as the franchise decided to continue in other directions, including setting up Tim Blake Nelson as the iconic big-headed Hulk archenemy, The Leader. His reveal in the MCU means that Marvel will need to take some steps in order to better establish the MCU's current canonical ties to the forgotten The Incredible Hulk timeline. We've already seen William Hurt reprising his role of General Thunderbolt Ross in both Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, as well as the solo Black Widow project, which was his final act as the character before his unfortunate passing. Even though The Leader didn't end up making an appearance in She-Hulk, the latest MCU series also made another step in connecting the two film series with the return of Tim Roth's Abomination, although we already saw him make a cameo appearance in Shang-Chi. Plus, the upcoming Captain America title, New World Order, is also set to feature both The Leader and Thunderbolt Ross, though he'll now be played by Harrison Ford. Fans of the original Hulk timeline will be excited to see it finally being confirmed as a canon within the larger franchise. Moving on, this might also mean that we'll finally know what happened to The Leader after The Incredible Hulk. Nelson's character's fate was left unanswered at the end of the Incredible Hulk series, but now, thanks to She-Hulk, we might finally have the answer to what happened to the unfortunate scientist after the film. For a long time now, Marvel has ignored the impact that the Incredible Hulk has had on the shared universe. The MCU had previously teased the future Hulk villain back in 2008's The Incredible Hulk, who tried to help cure the Edward Norton starring Bruce Banner. However, he was forced into helping turn Emil Blonsky into Abomination, a procedure that ended with a vial of Banner's blood accidentally ending up dripping into a cut of Stearns' head, causing his head to begin swelling up. Although his transformation into into the leader was teased through this moment, he hasn't yet made an appearance ever since then, with theories suggesting that he could have helped Bruce in creating Smart Hulk, or that he'd probably return in the future World War Hulk movie. Let's take a look at what Kevin Feige had to say about the leader's absence from the MCU. Looks like not even the Marvel boss can escape the ghost of the Forgotten Hulk villain, even with the Marvel Cinematic Universe reaching the 15th year of existence. Being the green sheep of the MCU family, fortune wasn't on the side of the second installation of The Incredible Hulk when it first hit theaters in 2008. The appearance of Tim Roth's Abomination, Edward Norton playing a pre-Mark Ruffalo Hulk, and the movie itself just didn't live up to the hype created by Iron Man just a couple of months earlier. However, it seems that one of the film's biggest gripes was introducing Dr. Samuel Stearns as the leader, and then promptly throwing the character into the MCU scrap heap as soon as the film hit the cinemas. Back in 2017, Feige himself revealed that he knew just how much of a wasted opportunity the leader was for the hardcore members of the MCU fanbase. However, despite being forgotten by the greater MCU, Stearns' name showed up in the Avengers prelude, Fury's Big Week, revealing that a half-mutated Stearns was currently in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s custody thanks to Black Widow. Then later on in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, we saw a mass prison break go down in one of the S.H.I.E.L.D. containment centers, meaning that there's a very big chance that a green, large-headed version of Stearns is currently roaming around under his The Leader persona. Moreover, the leader's history in the MCU makes him a formidable villain for the Avengers. The upcoming sequel to Disney Plus's miniseries, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, will also be including Nelson, who is set to reprise his role as Dr. Samuel Stearns, and fans are more than excited to see him appear as the sinister, gamma-infused, egg-headed villain. So far, we are uncertain as to whether the leader will become the big bad of Captain America 4, but the film's director Julius Ona did provide some teases as to what Mackie's star-spangled and high-flying Avenger may face. According to Ona, one of the things that drew him to this project was the leader himself, since he was a man who used his head rather than his brawn, and it was much better to have a villain who would put Sam, aka the new Captain America, through the ringer. So, it sounds like the leader will be integral to the film as a major threat to Sam Wilson. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think the leader is going to appear in the MCU? And where do you think he has been all these years? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.